All my niggas
in his lawsuit. Jay-Z and Beyonce. While other big names remain in the suit, why were references to these two A-listers purposely omitted in a newly amended complaint? Well, lots to discuss. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, we have a follow-up to quite the lawsuit. I talked about this a few weeks ago. This guy out in Florida named Joseph Manzaro filed a lawsuit in Florida federal court claiming he was a victim of sex trafficking and sexual exploitation at the hands of Sean Diddy, Combs, and others. Explosive lawsuit, broke the whole thing down in a prior sidebar. You can check it out on Law and Crime's YouTube channel. But basically, he alleged that he was kidnapped, he was drugged.
It's a lot going on, man. Salute to everybody on the way in. You already know the vibes. I'm Uda. I'm on Go. Welcome to the Go Network. You already know. I already know y'all on Go. We don't go together. Listen, man, we got a lot to go through today, y'all. Sound effect. That's the blue button I just pressed. When we show you that button's blue, that's the blue button. And I'm going to tell you why it's blue. Live now, we got Diddy and Beyonce linked to the freak off e-offs. This is crazy work right now, y'all. Diddy and Beyonce. Now they trying to bring Beyonce into the e-offs? No, they not, yo. The Beehive, get on these people. They trying to, in the freak off with the baby oils? We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. All right. Then we got trial delays, and he adds Young Thug's lawyer, Brian Steele, to the mix, bro. First of all, shout out Brian Steele, man. Period. Shout out anybody that represents if you got Brian Steele, you got one of the realest on your side. So salute to that, man. We're going to be getting into that. And we got Big U Rico case. We're going to be going into the Big U Rico case, the breakdown of this, right? We're going to be going into Luce Cannon and Brick Baby as well. And I'm going to be going into a breakdown of how we can see with Luce Cannon's case and the things that he's charged with. We've actually got a case-by-case comparison to see about, what time or what could he be facing right now, even though we understand for the content and these plays are going on. This ain't a play. People are really in a Rico right now, and this ain't a joke. And those feds don't play. They do everything by the book. When they try you, everything they do is by the book. When they sentence you, it's by the guidelines. It's just what's happening. You know what I mean? So salute to everybody on the way up. Grand Rising to all my teams and my queens. All my Udas out there. Salute to y'all. Let's get to the content, though. You already know the vibes, man. Salute.
Not necessarily as defendants, but as people who were at this party that he claims, by the way, was held at a property owned by Emilio and Gloria Estefan in Miami and then taken by a secret tunnel to Sean Combs' property. The complaint that was filed at the beginning of the month read, high-profile individuals, including Jacob Arabo, Jacob the jeweler, Jay-Z, Gloria Estefan, LeBron James, and Beyonce Knowles Carter are identified as witnesses due to their presence or knowledge of the events surrounding the freak-off orchestrated by defendant Diddy. A freak-off has been described so many times in different lawsuits and the indictments. But here's the thing. In a newly amended complaint, Manzaro has dropped Jay-Z and Beyonce's names. And that is really interesting because here's the thing. What did Manzaro allege in the prior complaint? Quote, upon regaining partial consciousness, the plaintiff found himself inside a large party area upon information and belief that it was Diddy's son's birthday party. Jay-Z and Beyonce Knowles Carter were seated in the room. And upon seeing plaintiff, Beyonce Knowles Carter asked, what's this? What's this all about? Why is this half-naked white man with a blank mask standing here in front of me? Defendant Eric, this is Eric Mejias, responded, Diddy wants him to see what we do to snitches. This is part of his punishment. Plaintiff was forcibly.
Were you recently injured in a car accident? Look at this check for $160,000.
He paraded through multiple rooms filled with people who were jeering and taunting him. Defendant Diddy explicitly ordered plaintiff's degradation, saying he's going to find out what we do to snitches tonight, get him undressed. But now, in a newly amended complaint, Jay-Z and Beyonce, no sign of their names. Their names are dropped. Their names don't appear anywhere. Why? Well, there's no official stated reason. But according to Page 6, the couple's legal team provided information to show they weren't in Florida at the time of this alleged incident back in 2015. That reporting from that time indicates Jay-Z was actually making an appearance at NYU, and then he and Beyonce went on vacation in Hawaii, with the Daily Mail back in the day publishing photos of them together there. So I want to bring in right now Long Crime's legal counsel, Elizabeth Vulai, to talk more about this. She is so generous with her time because Long Crime, we have so many legal issues we got to talk about, but she's been following these cases. So Elizabeth, thank you so much. So is this why they were dropped from this amended complaint? It feels intentional. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a great point. So, like you mentioned, it's been reported that Jay-Z's attorney Alex Spiro has provided evidence and has been in touch with plaintiff's counsel, providing proof saying, there's photos of them in Hawaii. There's reporting that Jay-Z was at an event in New York for NYU, and the plaintiff is claiming that these incidents happened in early April. So, if you can provide concrete evidence, specifically photographic evidence, that they weren't even in Miami or anywhere near the area at the time, I think that's a really key indicator. And also, I think because he's also left the names of some of the other witnesses in the complaint, but he's taken Jay-Z and Beyonce out. And even though this is an unrelated case, if you remember the Jane Doe complaint that was filed against Jay-Z claiming that she was raped at a VMA after party in 2000, she later withdrew that complaint, and then he ended up filing a defamation lawsuit. So that could also add some pressure to this plaintiff as well. So if he sees, okay, might not have the evidence to back this up, I don't want to be faced with a defamation lawsuit. So that could also be part of it.
I was going to ask you that because he files this after that complaint was dropped, after my timeline's correct. Jay-Z's attorneys file that extortion defamation suit against Jane Doe, again, who claims that when she was 13 years old back in 2000, she was raped by Jay-Z, drops that case. So you would wonder, I'm not going to go after Jay-Z. I mean, he wasn't named as a defendant in this action, but I'm not even going to mention Jay-Z or Beyonce unless I have the goods, right? Which is interesting because, as you mentioned, attorney Alex Spiro, who represents Jay-Z, released a statement to People saying Jay-Z wasn't in Florida at the time to witness this incident. He was engaged in easily findable public activities that prove he was not at this event. This is more nonsense that erodes the trust in our justice system. Talking a lawsuit like this, how do I not bring up litigation experts, our sponsor, our partner, Morgan & Morgan, right? America's largest personal injury law firm. The past, if this is easily findable, the attorney representing Mr. Manzaro, wouldn't they have said, can you prove this other than you saying this? I mean, if this was easily findable, you have to imagine that an attorney before filing a complaint would say, let me see if I can back this up. That's the part that's a little concerning, unless there's another reason they dropped their names.
Right. No, it's completely right. And when this first came out and the photographic evidence and other things came out showing that they weren't apparently in Miami at the time, I was a little surprised that they brought their names up as well, especially considering the defamation lawsuit that's currently pending that Jay-Z filed. There could be a multitude of reasons. Maybe the attorney handling it is taking what his client is saying at face value. I would think most attorneys, especially if you're bringing up big names like that, people that have a lot of resources, a lot of financial means, they have a lot of power. I would think that an attorney would, want to make sure they do their due diligence and make sure they were really there. It could be that he did and he thought there was enough evidence to support that. It could also be as an attorney, if you're dropping these big names, and again, strictly as witnesses for now, most of them, if you're dropping these big names, maybe that'll draw more attention to your case. It might put more pressure on the opposing parties. So there could be a bunch of different reasons.
What's the ability for a Jay-Z or Beyonce to file a lawsuit because they were named in this lawsuit? I mean, there is a litigation privilege, right?
Yeah, that's right. So there is a litigation privilege. Usually what happens is that you don't typically are not able to sue for defamation for statements that are made within judicial proceedings. Sometimes what people do is, they can file, attorney for the other party can file a motion for sanctions. So in federal court, and this is a federal court case in Florida, you have the ability to file sanctions if the attorney is bringing forward a lawsuit that's frivolous, that's done, sort of recklessly. Because they're being named as witnesses, though, I would think that's going to be a little bit tougher because they're not the direct parties named here. They were just witnesses. But there's a potential option for them to bring forward a defamation claim if they can show that there was negative statements being made. So these statements that they were witness at this potential freak off, allegedly, that they witnessed all these things that maybe they didn't do anything to stop it. They could imply this is a negative statement. It's not true. It was made recklessly. Therefore, there could be defamation here. I think moving for a motion like sanctions, if you're not a named defendant, might be tough. But, there's a possibility you can move forward for a defamation claim if you're recklessly named as a witness in a lawsuit and it's not true.
But the fact that their names were dropped, and again, this doesn't appear to be like an oversight. Oh, we meant to include them and we're going to amend it. It seems like they were intentionally dropped because this pretty much everything else about the second amended, the amended complaint is identical. It makes me wonder, does that show a weakness in this case? Does it show a weakness in the accuser's account?
Yeah, I think it could be alleged that it sort of chips away at possible credibility because, like you said, the other witnesses were left in. LeBron James, Gloria Estefan, the only real people that were taken out were Beyonce and Jay-Z. It sort of reminds me, again, coming back to that Jane Doe lawsuit when she had mentioned that a member of the band Good Charlotte was a witness to this alleged incident. And then it later came out, a representative for the member of the band said, actually, no, he wasn't even in the state at the time. He was on tour with his band in a completely different state. So even though he was initially referenced as a witness, in the public eye, that sort of chipped away at the alleged victim's credibility. And I think it could be argued the same is being done here. If you are throwing out these names and it later is revealed that they weren't there, I don't know if it necessarily negates every single claim that he's making, but it could pose some challenge to his credibility in the public eye.
And you mentioned that because it doesn't appear that Manzaro and his lawyer, whatever conversation they may or may not have had about Jay-Z and Beyonce, and why they decided to drop them from the suit, again, as witnesses, they are moving ahead. They have filed this amended complaint. They've named several people as defendants, and they've still named several people as potential witnesses. So you have LeBron James, Jacob the jeweler, the Estefans, which, in fact, according to the amended complaint, which is, again, seemingly almost identical, it reads, quote, inside, Gloria Estefan panicked upon seeing plaintiff's deteriorating state, demanding call an ambulance. However, defendant Emilio quickly silenced her and ushered her away into the crowd. At that moment, plaintiff briefly saw LeBron James, who was wearing a white bath towel, brown shower shoes, and carrying a shaving bag, walking through the hallway. LeBron James looked at plaintiff and in response to Gloria Estefan's plan for an ambulance remarked, "Y'all better do something about that." So, Elizabeth, it seems that Manzaro still believes he can prove that this happened.
Listen, man, salute to everybody in the building. I just wanted to let it play. It's a lot. It's a lot to what we're talking about here, especially with the victim that came out saying that he was there, got assaulted and all of this, ran past LeBron and seen Beyonce. I'm like, now you seen Beyonce, bro? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You're gone too far. You ever seen Shata's movie? You're gone too far, Biggs. You're gone too far. You must have gone too far, Biggs. Yo, for real, you must have gone too far. Now y'all talking about Beyonce and the freak off e-offs, or she knew about the freak off e-offs. Listen, Beyonce is my baby. Jay-Z, don't come for my head, hove. Beyonce's my baby, y'all. Y'all not gonna say Beyonce is with the baby oils like this, y'all. Oiling up the people. She wasn't oiling up nobody. Don't do that. She wasn't oiling up nobody. All right, man. Salute to everybody in the building. It's scary though. I need everybody to hit the poll in the chat. That's first things first. I need for everybody to hit the poll. Top of the morning. Grand rising to all of you. Salute to everybody. We here for another day, right? Make sure y'all hit the poll because I want to know. Because I heard they springing Diddy. They about to spring. But yeah, let me come right in. Let me show y'all this. What's going on, man. Because I think this shit is a joke. Listen to me, y'all. Listen to me. They about to spring Diddy, y'all. If you don't believe me, you better believe me. Okay? All right. You know the 1,000 bottles of baby oil that they bagged Diddy for? Now, I got to make sure that people understand what the hell going on. Do you remember the 1,000 bottles of baby oils? Yes or no? All right. Straight up. And the link is in the chat. So if y'all got something to say about this Diddy shit, I want to know what people think. Straight up. I'm tired of y'all writing to me and all this dumb shit. I want to know what people think. Say what the hell you saying to me, please. Because sometimes words get mixed up anyway, and we ain't got time. Listen, You know the 1,000 bottles of baby oil that was allegedly with the Diddy that they found in the basement, the grotto, whatever they have? I heard they threw out 999 bottles of baby oil. Threw it out the case, out of evidence lockers. 1,000 bottles, a slip and slide. Gone. Heard there was no evidence, but I heard they kept one bottle out of the 1,000. That's the one bottle that got Diddy DNA on it. But the whole thing about it is Diddy's claiming that, allegedly, he could claim that this bottle of baby oil was the only one he was using for his body when he was getting zestfully clean, So the other 1,000 bottles, the 999, ixnay on the I-99 is gone. It's gone. It's only one bottle of baby oil that Diddy got his print on. So stop saying that Diddy had 1,000 bottles. He only had one bottle of baby oil. Whatever he was doing with that one bottle, I don't know. Sometimes you can make one bottle of baby oil stretch. You had one bottle. The one bottle of baby oil you got in your house, you had that shit since you was a kid. It got oil on the label outside because you know you had it for too long. So come on, this is baby oil here. Who's using a bunch of baby oil? But Diddy, allegedly. Look at my people in the chat. We gotta get back into this. And we got another breakdown. Then we're going to be getting into the big U as well. I need for everybody to hit the poll. I want y'all all to drop a like as y'all here with me. All right. I just like going through my YouTube straight. But I'm doing this program because I want to share to y'all because I'm also going to be screen sharing to y'all a case that we're going to be reading. We're going to be doing a case-by-case comparison as well. So I just want to run through this. I don't want to do too much talking with y'all. So salute. Let's listen to a little bit more of this. We're going to flip it over, and then we're going to move to the case read. All right. So salute to everybody. Let's get back to the content, though.
And he may want to call LeBron James and Gloria Estefan as witnesses. And by the way, Emilio, Gloria's husband, is named as a defendant, by the way, claims that he enabled Sean Combs' sex trafficking of Manzaro. So it seems like he's going full steam ahead, saying this happened and they have a part of this. They're a part of this, too.
Yeah, he's definitely going full steam ahead. And I think the key thing about him still leaving Gloria Estefan as a witness is that, like you mentioned, Emilio Estefan is a defendant. So he's alleging that he engaged in wrongdoing. Whereas with Jay-Z and Beyonce, all he was alleging was that they were witnesses and this is what they saw. So I'm not surprised that he's still moving forward and still keeping in, Emilio and Gloria, obviously referenced heavily within the complaint, Gloria just as a witness. I was still a little surprised that he did leave LeBron James within the complaint because from what I see, he's just an apparent witness. I don't think he alleged any sort of wrongdoing against him. No. He wasn't named as a defendant. And I believe his attorney made some sort of statement that he might not have been in Miami at the time, that he was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I was kind of surprised he left him in there, but I wasn't surprised that he was still moving full steam ahead with the complaint.
Yeah, I'll get to those statements in a minute because they are quite telling as well. The interesting part about this is how are celebrities going to fight these subpoenas to testify if this case progresses?
Dialpad AI works for you and your company.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Salute to everybody on the way in. How is that going to work? We did see KK, Christina Quorum. She came out and spoke out the other day. She left a little message out there saying like, yo, she ain't had nothing to do with nothing. Point blank, period. She said she had nothing to do with nothing. So people are questioning why she's speaking now. We know the trial is on the way right now. So all of a sudden she comes out, she's stone dead silent the whole time. All of a sudden, Christina Quorum comes out speaking now. Christina's like they say his Ghislaine, they would say. But she's claiming that, no, she's not charged with anything, but they're saying that she may testify, and what will she testify, and will she be towards whose benefit would she be more towards? The prosecution side or the defense's side? Even though she's with Diddy, Diddy has been quoted as saying that he cannot live his life without her. His day cannot be good without this woman. This woman runs his day and runs his day to day, every day. So how does she not know something? So that's the whole jinkies with that. You know what I mean? Salute to everybody that's now pulling up with us. You already know the vibe. We got a lot to break down today. Salute. We're going to try to run through it all, and I'm going to try to get to this paperwork read. We're going to do a lot. All right? So we're going to go into my ex-girlfriend, y'all. My ex-girlfriend, this is my ex-girlfriend. I need y'all to drop likes on this because anytime I bring her on the screen, I need to make sure that y'all drop the likes. This is my ex-girlfriend. I'm a black man. I could be honest with y'all. I was cheating, and she broke up with me. I was foolish. I've stopped my ways, but I haven't gotten her back yet. But I am gonna get her back. Okay. So I'm just letting y'all know. Drop likes in the building from now. I want everybody to hit the poll. Everybody hit the poll. Okay. The poll's gonna change right now, so I want y'all to drop a like and hit the poll. Cool. All right. This is my ex-girlfriend, supposed to be my baby mother. Okay. But when I get her back, I'm gonna have the baby. We're gonna have that baby. Right? Salute to my baby moms to be. It's my ex-girlfriend. Make sure y'all dropping likes in the chat. Cool.
Scared without telling me you're scared. Y'all, Diddy just requested an extension. I know what you're saying, Tisa. We already heard about the 2-week extension. Nah. Diddy just asked for a 2-month extension. He doesn't even want this to start until after the twins are back for summer vacation. Y'all, let's get into this. So much has happened. Diddy is scrambling. He now sees what Mark Rico, the only black man on his case, was trying to tell him. You are not ready for trial, and you really, really need to do something about yourself. He hired Young Thug's lawyer, Brian something Esquire. Y'all know who he is.
Can't butch, baby. I love you. And I don't want to cook you right now. That's my ex-girlfriend. She cooked me the last time when she broke up with me, so I ain't trying to do too much. But girl, his name is Brian Steele. Okay, his name is Brian Steele. She looking good, son. I was stressing her out. She gaining mad weight. She looking good, son. She looking thicker for the snicker right now. Whoever she with right now, I feel a run down. But yet, I ain't even gonna say nothing. That might lead to a little charge. Because she eating good. You know that every time she's on her channel and she says, oh, that's my DoorDash. You know that's my money she's spending on my card still, but she don't want to take me back yet. Do you believe that? Some bullshit, bro. Look.
Oh, no, you can't be serious. That is some bullshit right there.
Everybody drop a like. Everybody drop a like. I want everybody here dropping a like. Okay? When my ex-girlfriend come back to the stream and she see herself on this shit, I'll need that shit to have likes on it. She's going to say, oh, all right, you putting respect on my shit. That's a fact. I'm a motherfucker. Ooh. Yeah. Salute to everybody. You already know the bops. Let's get to it.
He's the one that got Young Thug out of jail. However, I don't know. Brian is an amazing lawyer.
Oh, y'all.
But he's not a magician. And let's be real. Part of the reasons that Young Thug actually got off is because the Fulton County's DA office was acting a fool. The judge was running amok. You don't got any of those problems here. And let me tell you something.
Fulton County was shady as hell. They were shady as hell, though. I'm agreeing with my baby on that. I'm agreeing with my baby on that. Fulton County was shady as hell. Remember the judge? He had to get kicked? Oh, my. George Gansville? Oh, Lord Jesus Christ. That whole shit was a shabacle. You heard? It was a shabacle. But Brian Steele was a lawyer that was really down and riding with his client, bro. And that's something I haven't never seen, and we all never seen that. We all saluted Brian Steele in some shape, form, or fashion. The man unbuttoned his tie, said, look, man, if y'all going to take me in, I want to go and be with my client so that we can work on our case. This is a big Rico, and everything's missing, and I need to be here right now, y'all. And I need to be, and I'm taking off this damn coat. And he took his coat off like a G. Salute to Brian Steele. I would never butcher Brian Steele. Hopefully, I'm never in a criminal case that's worth requiring Brian Steele. If so ever that day, I would be looking for Brian Steele. And now Brian Steele is on Diddy's trial, and he's on Diddy's team. I think this is a good look for Diddy. But, you know, some people was thinking like, maybe because of the, you know, this is a big name. It's a lot. You know what I mean? Why? Some people thought that Brian wouldn't take it. But it's Diddy, bro. It's a big case, man. This is a make or break case. But that's what I'm saying. Y'all got to get in the chat. Do y'all think Diddy going to get sprung, y'all? Y'all got to tell me what y'all thinking. The chat in there, right? The poll in there, right? I think it is. Tell me what y'all thinking.
When it came to Young Thug, you're not messing with Fulton County. You are messing with the United States government, baby. They're going to make sure everything is above board and very tight. Same thing with the judge. But let's talk about Diddy begging for not 2 weeks, but now it moved up to 60 days. I told y'all Diddy wasn't ready. And I told you the only thing Diddy can do is deflect, deny. On top of that, now you're trying to act like you don't know. You got to look through evidence. I thought Cassie wanted it. I thought you knew what your defense was, y'all. Let's get into this because you could not make this up. Hold on. Okay, this is directly from the court reporters. Deadline covered it. Dominic McPattern. They said Sean Diddy Combs seeks a 60-day delay. Smex trafficking trial claims feds too slow in sharing evidence. Diddy, you was the one that fought for this. You were the one that begged for this. You were the one taunting the feds along with Mark Agnifilio. Yeah, I know. The judge kept saying, are you sure you're ready? Are you sure you're ready? This seems a lot. Are you sure you're ready? Diddy said he was ready, and now look. Anyway, right? They said Sean Diddy Combs loved to play tough guy when he was on top. But looking down the legal barrel of life behind bars, if found guilty of sex trafficking and more, the incarcerated Bad Boys Records founder now wants more time before his day in court again. Why is this so big? Because Diddy was the one that demanded that he be allowed to go to trial early. They actually wanted to put this trial to 2026. Mark Agnifilio convinced them that if he said, no, a speedy trial, they wouldn't have time to get evidence. They did. Anyway, right? In a short letter, Diddy's defense team, Mark Agnifilio, asked a federal judge for a 2-month adjournment because the new evidence introduced by prosecutors with the latest superseding indictment against Diddy was too much. Now, and here's the thing. The superseding indictment also, it's saying, has people that work very closely with them and senior management of Combs Global, stuff like that. There's a chance that some of his kids are actually named in that, and they are his co-defendants, and they need more time for the co-defendants to get their case together. Now, the smart thing to do would be to try the cases separately, right?
That would be the smart thing to do. Most definitely would be the smart thing to do. But this is why I'm telling you though. Diddy and them rushed this, you know. This case was not going to be tried yet, you know. Diddy felt that they was pushing and forcing the prosecution to force their hand to see what evidence they had. Okay? This is what happened, y'all. This is what happened. They forced their hand because sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. I'm going to tell you straight up. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's bad. It's good when they really ain't got shit on you and they just be trying to hold you in prison. Not even just on federal cases. Even on state cases, they'll do that. They'll have you in court while they're waiting for some witness to come around that they're trying to coax into telling a statement or story on you. It could even be a domestic case. They'll be waiting for you're with the person still and all that. But they still like, yo, they calling the person, you gonna come tell on him. She like, no, I don't want to come. I love him. Whatever the case may be. So they will have you sitting around. So you can push for the speedy trial. You know what I mean? You try to push for that speedy trial. Boom, 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 boom. Get it done, right? Force them to say what they have on you. Because Diddy felt like they had that much on him. We've seen since he got in that building, it's been an explosion of cases. Not just what he thought he was facing in the very front. Now it's spiraled out of control. You know what I mean? Of course, some of those outlandish claims and cases have been thrown, because a lot of people were making these claims anonymously, right? But the judge ruled that, listen, they cannot hide behind the anonymity. You cannot hide behind this anonymous claims now. So this is where one of the last victims, supposedly alleged victims, dropped the case. And they said that they dropped the case because they was terrified of Diddy and did not want to reveal their self to the public. Do you believe this person? Do you not? Take it with a grain of salt, but I'm just saying, powerful people, I don't know. You know what I mean? So that's what happened with that person. But this is the crazy thing. When the judge said that about the anonymous things, a couple of people came out. A couple of women came out straight, and they put their name, they put themselves on the public forefront. So now you can see their name. You can see their whole life now. So that's how much they're believing in what they want to do. Whether you think you lying or you telling the truth, you're willing to sacrifice that to go public. Because now, listen, your family, you have children. They could be scrutinized. They're going to school. How old are your kids? So for you to go about doing all of this, if you lying, that's crazy. If you lying, I'm telling you. If you're lying, I'm just gonna play a sound effect. If you're lying,
oh no, you can't be serious.
I'm giving you a face like this.
Bullshit, right there.
That's some bullshit, bro. Hopefully you're not lying. Salute to everybody in the building. Welcome to On Go. I mean, everybody getting the likes on Go. Everybody getting the likes on, bro. We're gonna play a little bit more on my baby moms. You know what I mean? It's my BMs. You know what I mean? She kicked me to the curb, but it's all good. I'm gonna get her back in a minute. It's all good. Okay. So make sure y'all dropping likes in the building. Salute to you if you just dropped a like. Can everybody in the building just drop a like for me right now so I can see how this program is working when I'm in this program right here, as in StreamYard and all these things. I really don't use this program. So I'm trying to judge it by how this thing is moving. So if y'all just drop a like, even if y'all passing through, make sure y'all hit subscribe. I'm going to go out through a lot of different content here, but one thing I do here is paperwork leads. We're going to get into a case-by-case comparison to a Rico case, and we're going to get into Luce Cannon. We're going to break down Luce Cannon. Another day, we're going to go into Big U, case-by-case comparison, and then we're going to do Brick Baby as well, and a case-by-case comparison. Salute to that. Salute to you, and let's get a little bit.
That would be the smart thing to do, but that wouldn't be good for Diddy. They would have to try them all together to actually be good for Diddy. And right now, I'm guessing he only cares about what's good with Diddy. Now, why is this so important? Because for a number of reasons. Well, I did a live last night when we did a live tweet about what was going on in Diddy's arraignment. One of the things I called and said was them asking for a 2-week adjournment. They're not slick. They don't want a 2-week adjournment. They weren't ready. But here's the thing. When you look at judges in the trial calendars, everything is in order. So when the judge locks you in for a trial calendar, barring something major, you have to go along with that for the trial calendar. Now, why? Because there are other trials behind you. There are other trials around you. So that's why they set everything. It's like a doctor's appointment. You can't tell them to book you in for the weekend of the 21st and then pop up and be like, you know what, never mind, I want the 14th. Well, somebody already has the 14th. Diddy knew that by asking for a 2-week adjournment, the judge would come back if they granted it and say, well, we don't have 2 weeks. You know, there are other trials starting. We're going to have to put you after the trials. That's a way to get a 3-month extension. He just got a new lawyer. There are co-conspirators named. Again, people are saying that one of the reasons he asked for this is because some of the sons were named as co-conspirators. And now, instead of just representing Diddy, you have to represent his sons, which is another reason why he said he wanted 4 Black women lawyers to represent him. He doesn't need 4 Black women lawyers plus Brian. However, if Justin, Quincy, or even Christian is named, then who knows? At the very least, Combs Global was named in the papers over and over and over again. That's what these lawyers are talking about. Justin is CEO, I believe, of Combs Global. However, Janice Combs actually might be involved also. Hold on, let me check on this. Okay, I just checked. Janice Combs is not a part of Combs Global. However, it's important to note that even though she's not a part, again, Diddy's co-conspirators are named. It looks like Diddy is going to pay for everybody's defense, and they're going to be at one table. What's the good thing? They don't have to pay for their own lawyers. What's the bad thing? Diddy is paying for your lawyers. Again, Diddy's kids, I don't know, maybe they love their dad that much, but if I was a co-conspirator, I don't know necessarily whether I would let Diddy pay, because it's going to be harder to cop a plea deal, especially if they're all represented by the same either legal counsel or the people that Diddy is paying for. They said from the friction between the defense and the U.S. Attorney's Office at the suddenly called arraignment, Diddy's legal team made it clear. Mark Agnifilio said, Yana, we want to hit the pause button. Okay, Judge Submarinium gave him 48 hours, which is today. The Fed want things to move ahead with no delay. Again, the judge hasn't ruled. Diddy just said he wants too much. In the hearing, he said 2 weeks. Then when they wrote the letter to the judge told him, they told the judge, no, we're going to need 2 months. However, this is just a request. The judge could say no. Why would they say no? Well, because the judge asked them a million times over these past 5 months, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And they were fighting the government tooth and nail to make sure that it happened May 5th. Even the government was like, can we move it over? They were still fighting tooth and nail. Now, one thing about this being postponed, Diddy thinks that he might have cracked the code. But again, last time he thought to crack the code, it did not work. In what way? Well, think about it. the feds have a certain deadline to get in all superseding indictments before trial starts. By waiting until all the deadlines pass and then saying, oh, we want an extension, they think they stopped the feds' investigation in its tracks. The feds have said numerous times, and they sit at the trial on April 14th, Your Honor, this investigation is ongoing. On top of this, I don't think Mark Agnifilio actually told him that even if that deadline passes, they can still petition the judge to actually bring in more evidence, especially if you move the trial by 2 months. That means more evidence. And then when more evidence comes in, you move it another 2 months, another 2 months. But time is never on Diddy's side or the co-conspirator side. We'll get into that in a second, but let me just read what they said. They said, Your Honor, Mark Agnifilio said, Your Honor, the government opposes our proposed reasonable adjournment request, even though it's still producing discovery, including discovery on count 4, a 15-year mandatory minimum count, and has indicated over our objection that it will not produce the exhibits and witnesses list due today or the additional 3,500 material while this request is pending. Your Honor, under these circumstances, the discovery is seemingly incomplete with a 15-year mandatory minimum count. We cannot in good conscience go to trial on the scheduled date. Your Honor, this is a problem the government has created. It opposes our reasonable request. It opposes the request because you knew how things were going to go. Diddy's team created this. Even Anthony Rico quit because of this. I know Diddy feels stupid that he let Anthony Rico go, but Anthony Rico said he.
Diddy said, nah, man, he putting together his own team, man. You talking about he had 4 black women lawyers, all that. Anthony Rico. My question to y'all is getting the poll. Do y'all think Diddy is about to beat this? Yo, listen to me, yo. Don't let me. Do y'all know who Black Sam is? Does anybody in this chat know who Black Sam is? Do you know that's Nipsey's brother? Do you know Black Sam is Nipsey Hussle's brother? R.I.P. to Nipsey Hussle. You know that? All right. Well, Black Sam told the guy the other day, go get it cracking and come back. Get it cracking and come back. So that means you're going to have to get it cracking on the like button or get it cracking on that poll, or you're going to have to come back. Just like Black told him on Crip, on Neighborhood Crip, you're going to have to get it cracking straight. So salute to that. Salute to all my people that get it cracking. Yeah. Facts of life. But Diddy's in a hot seat, man. Diddy's in a hot one, man. We just gonna keep it. We just gonna keep spades and spades, homie. We just gonna keep spades and spades, homie. Diddy is in a hot seat, bro. This is my baby mother. Let me see her one last time. Love her, son. This how she was looking at me when she saw me cheating. She was looking at my phone just like that. When I looked at her, when I came in that living room, she was right there looking at my phone with her eyes big, just like that, dog. Sad, son. Sad. That's what happened, bro. I got caught cheating, man. I could be honest in a minute. I need for everybody to be in the building that's getting the likes up. Top of the morning, grand rising to everybody. We got a lot to get into. We just wanted to get the Diddy on the board, you know what I mean, just to see what's going on with Diddy because they said they about to spring Diddy. If you just entered the chat, you are late. You just woke up. You didn't see the news on TMZ, ain't even dropped yet. They about to spring Diddy. Supposedly, they supposed to spring Diddy. I heard 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Allegedly, they threw out 999 bottles of baby oil. So Diddy's only getting charged for one, alleged. One baby oil they bringing into evidence. That's it. He's not charged with it. Just the one bottle of baby oil is all they bringing in. So, but Diddy could claim that one bottle was for self-use. You know what I mean? It wasn't for spraying on nobody. You know what I mean? So the one bottle of baby oil, that's all that's left. So Diddy maybe get sprung. And in spring, he gets sprung in spring. Makes sense. Shit rhyming, don't rhyme at the same damn time. You know what I mean? So salute to everybody that understand that. Make sure y'all getting in the chat. Make sure y'all getting in the comments. Make sure y'all getting in the bombings if you blood, homie. In the comments if you cuss. I mean, make sure you're doing the right thing in it. Salute to y'all. But I do got to get into, it's a lot to get into. It's a lot to get into. We're going to go ahead then because it's a lot. It's a lot to get into. Yeah, we're going to get into this. We're going to have to get into Big U, a.k.a. BKA, anything in them AKAs. Let me just show y'all, yo. Listen to me. Don't play around with this guy. Look, zoom in. Listen to me. I heard a story that they said when you behind the walls. Look where I'm at. MDC Los Angeles. Do you not see me in the building right now? I'm getting the inside story for you right now. Hold up, from my LA correspondent. Hold up, LA correspondent. Hold up. What happened? What happened to Brick Baby and them niggas? We're loose. War? You ain't hear from you? Damn, you ain't hear from you. Hold on, wait. So you mean to tell me that Luce and Brick Baby, you told me the other day Brick and Luce ain't in the same cell. You told me that the nigga Brick is sacked up. He in a cell with a white boy with a mohawk, and Luce got a Spanish vato loco for a cellmate. So this shit all twisted. So they ain't with brothers? So how you know this, man? Was you in the building? You a Fed? Is you on my line? All right, man. Listen, man. Just let me know if you see Big U in the building, man. And if you do, run. Sit. Let me bang my line, son. Listen to me. This nigga just told me. Yo, when Big U is in the building, they call him Big Yusufa. Big Yusufa. They dropped the L off, Yusufa. And that button that I just pressed is blue. So that's the blue button. That's when you see Big U in this building. Look at this building. Look at the corridors. Do you want to be walking down that building with Big U? Allegedly. This nigga 6'5", did kung fu since a kid, and he was 6'5" since he was a kid. The fuck? This nigga like a LeBron James ass nigga. What's wrong with this nigga? No, you don't want to see this nigga in the cell. You don't want to see him in the cell. And he got his cousins with him. His whole family is cousins. He has no brothers, no sisters, no nothing. His whole entire family is cousins. You know when you got some cousins that's ready to ride for you, how that's going to go for you, bro. That's what I'm saying. They said Brick and Luce need to be together. They need to be friends because it's looking like they at odds. Because listen, Luce Cannon been going against Big U for how long? So that means all of the neighborhood people are not really going to jack Luce Cannon because they're going against Big U. So when Brick Baby act like he's want to be friends, talking about, I put him in the cell, could. You know we had to do it like this, whatever going on out there, but I had to go, I mean, could. I had to do it like that, could. Neighborhood, could. That's what Brick says, allegedly. Translation, he said he had to bring him in the cell because regardless of what they had going on the outside, they ain't inside the jail, so they got to defend each other. Translation. He be high sometime. Hopefully he not high in the building. Be focused, nigga. You need to be like this, nigga. You're Rocky. Nigga, nigga, you need to have that right, nigga. So don't be high in the building, homie. Don't do no K2 or nothing in the building, Brick. Please. We need you focused in the building, Brick. Do not do no K2s, homie. Please. I mean, if you crip, I think they call it C2, whatever, nigga. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. But listen, though. They saying that they got to be together and be friends because, listen, though. Brick is in violation. I heard this allegedly. Brick on neighborhood. Listen, allegedly Brick is in violation. I don't know if they want to drink his milk or whatever. Because I heard the Bloods, they eating food, and the Crips, they drinking milk. I'm just giving you up to date LA correspondent. If you're Blood, correspondent. He's putting me on game right now as we speak live from LA. Where you at on Figueroa? Nigga, I'm on live, nigga. Why is you on Figueroa Street, nigga? Come on, man. Go get you some real tail, man. Get off them streets, man. Come on, man. Update my people. Get your ass off Figueroa Street. What's going on with the people, man? What happened? What you said about Brick? All right, cool. Listen, he about to call me back, but he might have to give him like a half an hour. He on Figueroa Street. He said there's some bad ones out there. I don't know. I don't know. I'm from New York. But he said it's some bad ones. That's where he go to get his, his little pick of the litter. So that's him. That's him. To each his own, y'all. Everybody got to work. It's an old school Jamaican. Everybody must work. Don't be a jerk. So everybody must work and work harder. It's an old school Jamaican song. So, hey, everybody must work. So I'm not mad at nobody that's stripping for the little tippings. But, yo, listen, though. We got to get into this Big U, a.k.a. Write his name in the chat, the nickname that they said you can only call him if you scared. And why a lot of people scared. All right. I think it's games, nigga. You see I'm in the building. How you think I got the pass? You think I'm in the building? You think I'm a fed? Because I got this pink coat on? Salmon coat? Or not me, nigga. Not me. This is the guest gate. I'm behind a gate right now like this. Nigga. Straight up, nigga. Scared straight, nigga. I'm like this. Well, he in here for 100 years? What's going on here? I'm at the visitor's gate right now, nigga. You are? I'm at the visitor's gate, nigga. On Bloods and Crips, nigga. I'm in the visitor's gate. So look, shit crazy, shit crazy.
I don't know what to say.
Remember Big U? He turned himself into federal custody last month after
Everybody
a
hit the ball.
shocking indictment alleged
I
he
know you
committed
love
a number of
police
crimes,
like it.
from embezzlement to fraud to extortion to robbery, as well as
At least-
violating the federal Rico Act. But that's not all.
It's
His
everybody in the
indictment
building,
comes
man.
as
Grand
such
Rising,
a shock because to the public, he appeared like an OG who just wanted to do good. But according to the feds, that was all a ploy. I'm Elizabeth Milner with Law and Crime. Now, if Big U is convicted on his charges, he's not facing light time. He's facing life in prison. Now, last time I reported on this story, we had little info about the man he's accused of murdering beyond that he was an aspiring rap artist signed to his label. Now we've learned the victim we previously knew as RW actually used to play football with Big U's son.
I just want y'all to know, all this stuff is quagmire. Shit's all bullcrap.
Not guilty. That's the plea Big U entered last week when he was arraigned on his charges. But Big U is looking at a major uphill battle, and the battle of a federal trial could soon begin as early as next month. According to his federal indictment, Big U ran a criminal enterprise that they call the Big U Enterprise. Court documents say the Big U Enterprise is a mafia-like organization that utilizes Henley's stature and long-standing association with the Rolling 60s and other street gangs to intimidate businesses and individuals in Los Angeles. Federal prosecutors claim Big U is known and regarded as a leader within the Rolling 60s Crips, and his time with the gang dates all the way back to the 80s, where he rose up the ranks after earning his rep as an enforcer. So what do the feds have on him? According to the indictment, agents have confidential human sources, wiretaps, search warrants for social media, iCloud, Google accounts, financial records from individuals and companies or organizations, toll records showing communications between conspirators, victims, and Big U Enterprise members and associates, cell phone records, records from the city of Los Angeles, interviews from witnesses and victims. Now, essentially, they claim to have a lot on him, especially since the investigation launched in 2021. But here's what else we've learned since the last reporting of this story. So in addition to embezzlement, wire fraud, and all that, Big U was accused of murdering one of his rap artists in a Vegas desert in January of 2021. Now, previously, we only knew the victim as RW because that's what the indictment says. But now we know the victim.
Could we use your house to trial our 24-hour bathroom upgrade system? We're looking for homeowners.
Victim's name, Rayshawn Williams. Now, prior to him being a rapper, he was a football player for Crenshaw High. The team even posting a remembrance to him on their Instagram page, writing in part, quote, "He was a very special guy to all of us here at Crenshaw. We hope that you pray and continue to pray for the family and hope that everything goes well along with them." But it's how Rayshawn died that's horrifying. Now, according to the indictment, Big U allegedly murdered Rayshawn by shooting him multiple times, then dragging his body into the desert and left him there in a ditch not far from Interstate 15. A witness told investigators Big U was one of the last people seen with Rayshawn before his murder. But why would he kill his own artist? Well, allegedly, Rayshawn recorded a diss track about Big U, even seemingly foreshadowing his own death. Now, the indictment says, quote, RW was dissing Henley, referring to Henley as the bro that makes some money, and that RW may get shot in the face for thinking his lackadaisical use of the studio and general representation of unique music is funny. Now, just 5 days later, after laying that track down, Rayshawn was shot in the face with a revolver that left no shell casings. But it's unclear if Big U heard the lyrics prior to the murder. But according to the internet gossip and rumors that are swirling around, others have suggested other reasons for why Rayshawn was murdered, like Wack 100 alleging Rayshawn and Big U's son were in a relationship and Big U didn't like that. Now, nowhere in the indictment does it claim that that happened. But Wack 100 and Big U hate each other, so who knows? It might be Wack trying to get another jab in. But in addition to murder, federal prosecutors allege Big U's enterprise purported control of LA, to the point Big U allegedly required musicians, athletes, and others who wanted to do business in LA, both legitimate and even of the criminal kind, to check in. Now, if you're unfamiliar with checking in, it's pretty much you had to get permission from Big U to travel to LA if you wanted protection. Ironic enough, his podcast is called Checkin' In. He even made note of how to do it in the theme song. When you hop off a plane, check in. Penthouse suite, check in. When your feet hit the street, check in. Because if not, gets hot. You better check in. And checking in isn't just sending a text message to Big U saying, hey, I'm in Los Angeles. You got to pay him. And he's got to sign off on it if you want to conduct certain activities. Now, Big U has pretty much been a guest on every hip hop and rap podcast you can imagine. and the feds were watching. Now, they cited in the Hip Hop Uncovered documentary that Big U stated, if you don't pick up the phone, that can mean death for somebody. In the Nothing to Something podcast, he said, you go and check in. You could choose not to, and it's going to be a problem. If you choose not to check in, you suffer the consequences. Now, an example they used of the so-called consequences was the attempted murder for hire plot of rapper Quando Rondo, which was allegedly set in motion by rapper Lil Durk.
This whole Rico is crazy, man. And it seems like they're ready for these guys. This is the crazy thing. You see what I'm saying? Remember how like Diddy was acting like he was ready, but now he's not. Now he's trying to delay the trial for like 3 more weeks, at least. These people are actually ready for these people. They feel like they're ready. Big U's going to be tried soon. So they're not, usually they wait like at least, yo, bro, these things could take years before they go to trial. They only speed them shits up if they want to speed them shits up. Like, no, we need this now. It's the only how. Because any other time you are in jail, you are telling your lawyers, you are fighting for the Speedy Trial Act. You're like, nah, I've been detained for how long? I need the Speedy Trial Act. Let me out until y'all have my trial, and then I'll be coming back and forth to court or whatever. I'll go to trial, bro. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Everybody and their mother is in there saying that. Trust me. Everybody and their mother. But they ready for Big U. And them. This is what's scary about this whole situation with Big U and them. This is what's scary. Real talk. Can't even hold you. This is really, really what's scary. But look, we're going to take a gander. We're going to take a gander here. Let me just make sure y'all seeing everything correctly. Salute to everybody. Let me bring this up a different way so that we can see it all right. Bong. Yeah, we can see it like that. I like how that's popping. On Bloods, on Crips, on Lanes. Yeah, my shit looking all right. So look, all right. This case right here that we're going to break down, right, a little bit. We're just going to go into the breakdown of this. Why? Because we're going to read through a little bit. Why are we going to read this case? Because this person, Justin Taylor, was on a case with David Taylor. I guess they're family related. Brothers, could be brothers or whatever. They got caught up with the Hobbs Acts. So I got 2 cases that were caught up with Hobbs Acts, right? So it's different. It's different types, right? So one case, this one was charged with a weapon. And when we're dealing with a weapon involved in a Hobbs Act, then we know that we're dealing with either could be the 924C. You know, they've charged with the weapons charges 924Cs and 924Js, right? So now, in this one case, the first case, a weapon is involved during the robbery, extortion, whatever that's happening, taking place. The next one, everything happens, whatever the case may be, but maybe no weapons involved. So the person has the 1 or 2 counts of the Hobbs Act. We know that Luce Cannon, for a fact, because to go through this with Big U's case is different because Big U has mad different things going on, right? Basically, the whole header of the Rico is him. But with Luce Cannon now, besides any other thing, because just because you charge with these things now, don't mean that this is all the things that they're going to be charged with. They can spring up things, other things on you. You know what I mean? Supersede. They do these things. This is the things they do. So Luce Cannon is charged with Hobbs Act violations. I think 1 or 2 Hobbs Act violations, whether it's robbery, extortion, or something like that. My thing is what I'm trying to really figure out, which I'm going to probably bring up his paperwork too. I'm going to see if it's any new thing that dropped. I think it's something new that dropped in his paperwork, but people saying that they couldn't find it. Anyway, they neither here nor there. So with these Hobbs Acts, you know what I mean? We're going to see how 2 cases alone, how they dealt with these 2 people while dealing with the Hobbs Act. Okay. So we're going to read a little bit through this because we understand in David Taylor's case, for the 2 Hobbs Acts, the Hobbs Acts were attempted robberies, attempted Hobbs Acts or some shit, right? Some way attempted. But it also has a magneto charge, a strap charge, which is a 924C. And the key word is attempted in this one. For the 2 attempted Hobbs Acts, they were trying to give him like 300 and something months altogether. They were trying to give him like 300. They're like, all right, cool. 252 months for the 2 Hobbs Acts alone. Then we're gonna give you 84 months for the weapon for the 924C. So that's just for the 2 attempted Hobbs Acts. And then I think they kicked off one of his Hobbs Acts, kept one and kept the 924, and he ended up with 20. They was really trying to give him 30 off the rip. So this is what Luce and them is facing. Brick is tied into a robbery. So obviously that robbery has got to be with the Hobbs Act, obviously, too. Because this is how they try in all those robbery types, taking the people property. That's why I want to read this shit, because when you see how it goes, because we know what we read in the paperwork when it comes to Dale Morrison, victim number 1 and the dispensary robbery alone. Just that alone. We're not saying no other things. Just that alone. How it took place. They ran in there. People was in there. They shook them down too. Took whatever from everybody. A co-owner had on a rollie on his wrist. Had a rollie on. Right? Sylvester stopped him from getting robbed, even though they was robbing the whole place and everybody in it, which I'm like, okay. Don't get it. Don't get it. Still don't get it. But when we go into this, we're going to understand. Did they not have weapons in there? Do you think they went in robbing just because they was deep? They go into a store. Owner could have a gun, could have a weapon, shoot at them. Right? You would think they said they rolled up with Luce Cannon, Sylvester Robinson, as well as like 11 or so other Rolling 60 members. And Dale Morrison said he was familiar with them. He knew them very well. So now the story is that Big U is the one who put Luce Cannon in the paperwork, and actually Luce Cannon was talking about clearing his name the whole time. And he wasn't just, I don't know, I guess snitching on Big U. I don't know. You're going to tell me what y'all think about that. Cool. All right, let me move this off the screen. Right? Boom. That's cool. Right? So, boom. Let's go into a little bit of this, right? So, let me just read it like this for now. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Where is it at? Where is it at? All right, cool. Boom. All right, so we're going to go into a quick breakdown. Okay, for his participation in an unsuccessful robbery during, see, this is why he had to attempt it. Okay, let me put myself on the screen. Right? This is why he had an attempt it. Get myself on the screen somehow. All right, cool. That's cool, right? All right. He attempted, bro. They stung this dude. Gave him like 30. Attempted. Them niggas ain't attempt that shit that they did that day. They did it. So much so that Wack 100 and Luce went on a podcast and said, you know why he took the 40 and took the 10 and gave him 20? Because he gonna take the 20. And Luce like, yeah, that's right. Anyway, I don't know. Listen now. So we can understand what Hobbs Act is. This is why I try to go around. Maybe some of these videos are not going to get the most views when I'm doing these videos. That's why I want y'all to drop likes, especially when I'm reading. I want everybody here. It's 20 of us. Make sure y'all drop the like. Why is that so hard for us? These are paperwork reads. Trust me. Anybody that's covering any case that I'm covering have not read everything that I've read on my channel, bro. And I don't do it for the view. I do it so that the people have it on the channel to go and get the information when they're ready, whenever the time comes. That's why I do it. I don't know why people doing it. So I need the likes to be up in this program. Straight up. I need it. Straight. Because this is a paperwork read and I want to get the information out. All right. Salute to everybody that gets to this point and drops a like for me. I appreciate you. All right. So look now. To the respondent, Justin Taylor faced charges of violating the Hobbs Act, 18 U.S.C. 1951A, and committing a crime of violence under 924C. That's the use of the weapon. The Hobbs Act makes it a federal crime to commit, attempt to commit, or conspire to commit a robbery, an interstate component, 1951A, Section 924C, authorizes enhanced punishment. Listen to this part, though. Repeat this part. Offers enhanced punishments for those who use a magneto in connection with a crime of violence, as defined in either 924C3A, known as the elements clause. They're going to go to the elements clause and they're going to go to the residual clause as well, right? So look, known as the elements clause, 924C3B, known as the residuals clause. Before the district court, the government argued, I'm right here, the government argued that Taylor's Hobbs Act offenses qualified as a crime of violence under 924C. So what does Luce Cannon and these people crime fall under? Not of a crime of violence? Is it violence or not? They're going to explain to you what they deem to be violence. Okay, salute everybody that dropped the like, yo. That's what I'm talking about. I love y'all. That's what I do it for. I do this shit. I do this shit to get just to build with my people and divide with y'all, bro. Really. Really, this is why I do this. I don't know why people do this shit. I mean, that's why maybe I'm gonna win probably, because I'm not doing it for no money. I'm not trying to get caught in no conspiracy. Listen. So Taylor qualified the crime of violence under 924C, right, y'all? So Taylor ultimately pleaded guilty to 1 count, okay? Each of violating the Hobbs Act and 924. So remember, he had 2 counts of the Hobbs, but he ended up pleading guilty to 1 Hobb, and the 924. The district court sentenced Taylor to 30 years in federal prison, bro. Yo, bro, just for the 2 charges, bro. 30. Stephen Curry. Yeah, 30. In federal prison. A decade more than the maximum set. They gave him 10 more years than the maximum sentence. What? For his Hobbs Act conviction alone. Taylor later filed a federal habeas petition focused on his 924C. So when he came back, he didn't focus on the Hobbs Act and the robbery. Was he there? Was it? So he's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna admit to all of these things or whatever the case may be. Fuck, I'll take my time on that. But the 924 conviction is when people gonna start getting it. Boom. Which was predicated on his admission. This is all because, so this is a weapons charge, but you don't have to possess the weapon, or they don't have to have the weapon at least. But to say you possess the weapon alone is the crime. You had the weapon, all right, cool. Hold this Hobbs Act. I mean, hold this 924C then. Because it's all conspiracy. This is a Rico. This is a conspiracy case. It's conspiracy charges. So just like Cuffy Gatlin is charged with 2 guns, that he's charged with the 2 guns, the ghost gun or whatever, the 924 and the 924J and the 924C he was charged with. But they never found no gun. He never had no gun. They charged him for drugs, ghost drugs. He ain't never had no drugs. Money, he ain't never had no money. It's a conspiracy. So they'll need all of those things and none of those things to lock you up. All they need to prove is the conspiracy that you knew, that you aided, that you had knowledge of at the time. All these little things that they're going to prove. You knew? All right, cool. You're conspiracy. You're guilty. So boom. That he conspiracy to commit the Hobbs Act robbery and attempted Hobbs Act robbery. Taylor argued neither Hobbs Act offenses qualified as a crime of violence for purposes of 924C. After United States versus Davis, they go on the site in court. In Davis, this court held that 924C3B residual clause was unconstitutionally vague. They blanked it. In his habeas proceeding, Taylor asked the court to apply Davis retroactively and vacate his 924C conviction and sentence. The government maintained that Taylor's 924C conviction and sentence remained sound because his crime of attempted Hobbs Act robbery qualifies as a crime of violence. That alone. They're saying your Hobbs Act qualifies as a crime of violence. Period. So even if you're trying to go around the corner, no, bro, you just committing the Hobbs Act, period. They're committing, they're ruling it as a crime of violence, right? A crime of violence under the elements clause, because of the elements of the case or the elements of the situation of what happens. So boom. So now the 4th Circuit Court held the attempted Hobbs Act robbery does not qualify as a crime. So now the 4th Circuit held that the attempted Hobbs Act does not qualify as a crime of violence under 924C. Now the 4th Circuit Court vacated Taylor's 924C conviction and remanded the case for resentencing. So they threw out the 924C, is it? The 4th Circuit Court noted that other courts have held that attempted Hobbs Act robbery does qualify as a crime of violence under the elements clause. Held. Attempted Hobbs Act robbery does not qualify as a crime of violence under the 924. No element of the offense requires proof that the defendant attempted to use, or threatened to use force. The court applies categorical approach to determine whether a federal felony may serve as a predicate for a conviction and sentence under the element clause, which poses the question whether the federal felony in question has the element, the use, attempted use, or the threatened use of physical force. So now look at all 3 of these now. So you ain't just got to be physically violent. You feel me? So they said the question has an element use, the use attempted use or threatened use of physical force and violence. See what I'm saying? The 924C3A emphasis is added. They said the relevant inquiry is not how any particular crime, but whether the federal felony at issue always requires the government to prove beyond a reasonable doubt as an element of its case the use, attempted use, or threatened use of force. This court has long understood similarly worded statutes to demand similarly categorical inquiries. An attempted Hobbs Act robbery does not satisfy the elements clause because it's attempted. To secure a conviction for attempted Hobbs Act robbery, the government must prove. This is what's going to happen with Luce Cannon and these people. Y'all drop a like. Everybody that just came in, drop a like too on the way in. Everybody subscribe to the channel because I also got a read that I'm doing after this that, trust me, you're going to want to be notified. On my mama's mama. You heard? And that's my grandmama if you slow. Take the helmet off. Let it sink in. Let it sink in. Facts. So now look. So the attempted Hobbs Act robbery, the government must prove that the defendant intended to complete the offense and that the defendant completed a substantial step towards that end. So all you got to say is that he was about to do it and you made a step towards doing it. Yo, I got the bag to do it. I'm about to tie them up. So I got the rope. Yeah, you went and bought rope. Conspiracy. Get your ass in the can. You never even went and seen the person, never tied them up. You went and got the rope. Get your ass in the can. Simple, right? Substantial step towards that end. United States first. They give you a case where it happens, whatever. And intention is just that, no more. And whatever a substantial step requires, it does not require the government to prove that the defendant used, attempted to use, or even threatened to use force against another person or his property. These are the little fine prints that they get you off on. A person or his property. So you could have showed force on it. You can say, I ain't never touch him. I just grabbed the purse. You know what I mean? Yeah, all right, get your ass in there. Even if the facts would allow the government to do so in many cases, as the Model Penal Code explains with respect to the Hobbs Act common law robbery analog, there will be cases appropriately reached by a charge of attempted robbery where the actor does not actually harm anyone or even threaten harm. You see what I'm saying? So they go into a code, a penal code or whatever, but no element of the attempted acts robbery requires proof that the defendant used, attempted to use, or threatened to use force. The government's countervailing arguments fail. The government first argues that the element clause encompasses not only any offense that qualifies as a crime of violence, but also any attempt to commit such a crime. But the element clause only asks whether the defendant did commit a crime of violence as defined by the statutes. The government next argues that the substantial step, the element of attempted Hobbs Act robbery, categorically requires it to prove that the defendant used, attempted to use, or threatened to use physical force. But while many who commit the crime of attempted Hobbs Act robbery do use, attempt to use, or threaten to use force, the government's problem is that no element of attempted Hobbs Act robbery requires the government to prove such facts beyond a reasonable doubt. The government maintains that anyone who takes a substantial steps towards completing the Hobbs Act robbery always or categorically poses a threatened use of force. So look how they just clump it in. A excessive use of force, threatened use of force, because the word threat can be used to speak of an abstract risk as well. The word threat can be used in multitudes of ways. So this is how they also catching you with the word. Crazy. The government submits that the element clause uses the term to require only an objective if uncommunicated threat to community peace and order. But when Congress uses the word threat in such an abstract predicate, I'm high, I'm sleepy. Which one am I? Which one am I? High or sleepy? This is predictive is the word. I'm thinking, dude, I've been reading so much other cases. The predicate, I'm like, damn, that's the predicate. I don't know what's going on. Rather than communicative sense, it usually makes its point plain. The textual clues in the statute point in the opposite direction of the government's reading. Moreover, the government's view of the elements clause would have it effectively replicate the work formerly performed by the residual clause. Under usual rules of statutory interpretation, the court does not lightly assume Congress adopt two separate clauses in the same law to perform the same work. Okay. Involve actually. Okay, cool. But let me go down here a little bit. Pause. Cool. Cause we're gonna go here now. All right, because this is where we going. So it just shows you a little bit of breakdown as we go down. So it shows what he did. All right, cool. 20 normally faces 20 years in prison. Okay. Interstate component is going through it. Boom. Open court shows you everything attempted to use. Second definition located in the okay. Physical force. Yeah, they put that in the first part and put that in the second. Opinion of the court. The element conspiracy to commit the Hobbs Act. By way of remedy, the Hobbs Act conviction is reaching its judgment. The fourth court acknowledged that the circuit be taking different views. Okay. Yeah, so I went into that, what the government have to use to prove it. I just told you that, right? Hold up, let me see. All you got to do is take a step towards it, bro. And these people actually completed the step. They actually did it so much so that they ended up giving the guy back his shit. Swear, bro. So they did it to the point that they gave the nigga back his stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. But in this case right here, like we said, this person got 20 years. I have another case that is a guy named Murdoch Rayford Sherrod. A guy named Murdoch Rayford Sherrod. And in Murdoch Rayford Sherrod's case, you know what I'm saying? It was a kind of technical one too with him too, you know what I mean? With Murdoch Sherrod. They said that by the sentencing guidelines, Murdoch Sherrod was supposed to get 51 months. But the prosecutors, DA, whoever's in the court, whoever you want to say, the prosecutors, obviously, but you know the people's on you. The prosecution. They pushed for an upward variant. When they pushed for this upward variant, you know what he got? He got 10 years. He was supposed to get 51 months. He got 120. So they not only doubled him up, they gave him extra gravy on top of that too. Straight. Okay? Shit is crazy. I might have to show you that too. Salute to that. Salute to everybody in the building. Make sure everybody dropping like. Everybody subscribe to the channel. That's not. You know, I just wanted to do a quick read today. You know what I mean? I did a live earlier today. I wasn't going to do this one now, but, you know, we here. What we going to do? You know what I mean? We here, man. You know what I mean? And this case right here is Murdoch Sherrod. And this is another case that goes about the same thing. Hobbs Act violations. Same thing. Hobbs Act. He talking about his addiction and all that. I'm going to a little bit. But this person ended up getting He ended up getting all my niggas turn shooters. He ended up getting all my ops turn racks. All my niggas turn shooters on the internet. You ain't been stuck in the computer. His case even had a weapon on it. I don't even think it did. Nope. His case didn't have a weapon. He's in your custody. Freezing into order. Let me show you. 25 per quarter. Hold up. Impose fines. Okay. Section 32 no court. And defendant make restitution. Hold up. Warrantless searches. He shall participate. He shall. Ain't got time, blood. Ain't got time. What we want to see is that, though. You feel me? This is the whole point, bro. This is the whole point. Why is still doing podcasts? Going for a minute. Shit isn't helping nobody, bro. I was hitting your head with a Title 3. Brick Baby talking about they trying to take the title from me, cuz. They trying to take the title from me, cuz. On Neighborhood Crib. Hey, that's to whoever, you know what I mean? Shout out to my bros that chopped up in the chat. I didn't even see the chat, yo. It's crazy. I had the chat. Salute to the bro. Salute to the bro. Yeah, though, man. I need y'all to get in the chat, though, man. Let me know if that.